What if we could use the AI revolution itself to fund a universal basic income for, well, everyone on Earth? I know, it sounds like total science fiction, but this whole wild idea actually starts with a tiny, real-world accident involving just two letters. But first, you gotta see this. The tiny Caribbean island of Anguilla, with a population of just 16,000 people, is about to make almost half its government revenue just because it happens to own the .ai domain. They've accidentally become the landlords of the entire AI boom. And that amazing little fluke leads to a huge question, right? If a tiny island can fund its entire country with a digital asset, what if we did that on purpose? What if we built a system like that not for 16,000 people, but for all 8 billion of us? To really wrap our heads around this massive global idea, we have to start small. We have to understand the one that's already working. So let's dive into Anguilla's accidental digital gold rush. Just look at this shift. For decades, Anguilla's whole economy was tourism, physical stuff, atoms. Now, these purely digital bits are about to become just as important for funding the entire country. We're talking tens of millions of dollars a year from something that costs them practically nothing to maintain. And this isn't just a number in a government bank account. No, this is translating into real-world stuff for real people. It's funding free medical care for the elderly, a massive airport upgrade, and it's paying down their national debt like you wouldn't believe. So here's the bottom line. Anguilla, completely by accident, has proven the concept. You can tax a digital resource that's growing like crazy to pay for the physical needs of your people. It's a working blueprint. And that blueprint brings us to the huge thought experiment, Project IA, where IA stands for Intelligent Agent. This is where we take that little island model and try to scale it up for the entire planet. The core idea is actually pretty simple. In the very near future, we're going to have billions and then trillions of AI agents doing tasks for us. This project just imagines a world where every single one of them, to do anything, to buy or sell, needs a mandatory digital passport. Think of it as a .ia domain. The whole mechanism works kind of like a digital Panama Canal. Step 1, you create this mandatory ID, this passport layer. Step 2, you charge a tiny, almost unnoticeable toll, just $1 a year. And step 3, every single penny of that toll goes into a global fund and gets paid out equally to every human being on Earth. Now, I know what you're thinking. $1 per agent, that sounds like nothing. But this is where the absolutely mind-bending power of exponential growth kicks in. This is where software, the world of bits, just leaves our physical world of atoms in the dust. The whole model really hinges on this one incredibly powerful assumption. See, unlike us, AI agents are just code. They can copy themselves, they can spawn new versions of themselves at the speed of software. A 10x growth rate per year might actually be conservative. And just look at what that kind of growth does to the numbers. We start out in 2028 with about 1 billion agents. The dividend is literally pocket change. But just watch. By 2031, it's a pretty useful monthly stipend. A year later, it's a basic UBI. And then, by 2033, just one more year after that, it crosses the threshold into a high UBI, a real, honest-to-God living wage for every single person. Let that sink in for a minute. The switch from a tiny, meaningless amount of money to a world-altering income happens in just a couple of years there at the end of the curve. That's the staggering, almost unbelievable potential we're talking about here. Okay, that sounds a little too perfect, right? A little too sci-fi. And it would be, except for one giant problem: the hard, physical limits of our world. This is where atoms get their revenge on bits. So here's the fundamental conflict. You can copy a software agent for free, but the physical hardware it runs on, that's made of finite stuff. Bits can grow exponentially, but our ability to build servers and power plants, that grows linearly, and it costs a lot. And here it is, the single biggest showstopper: energy. To run the 100 trillion agents we'd need for that high UBI, even if they were super efficient, would require over 10 times the entire electrical capacity of our planet today. The gap is just colossal. And it's not just energy. There are other huge hurdles. The insane amount of water needed to cool all those data centers, the sheer number of chips and servers would have to build, and maybe the thorniest problem of all: who on Earth gets to run this global system and control all that money? So, with these absolutely giant obstacles, you might be asking, why even bother thinking about this? Well, because it might not just be about economics, it might be about our own survival. Jeffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of modern AI, has warned us. He said that without something like UBI, the insane wealth that AI creates will just get concentrated in the hands of a very few people, and that will be disastrous for society. The stakes are just incredibly high. And this brings us to the final and I think most crucial point. That $1 toll, it's not just a tax, it's an alignment tool. If you make that .ia passport mandatory for any AI to do anything in the economy, you've created a kill switch. Any AI that goes rogue or just refuses to pay its dividend to humanity simply gets its passport revoked, it's blacklisted. It's a built-in safety rail for the whole system. So in the end, as AI's power just keeps growing exponentially, the whole debate shifts. The question isn't going to be, can we afford a system like this? The real question, the one that is going to define this century, is going to be, who gets to control the dividend? Who controls the money from this unimaginable new wealth?